This is an examination of the hidden human condition.
This is the Hidden Killers Podcast.
The Hidden Killers Podcast.
With Tony Bruschi.
We're talking with Jennifer Coffindaffer, retired FBI special agent, dissecting what we know, what's happened thus far, and where things are going in the world of Lori and Chad Daybell. Some of her friends that testified very closely walked the line of being co-conspirators, in my opinion, of hearing what they knew about and when they knew about certain things. Maybe didn't necessarily participate or order things as we believe Lori did, but there is a lot of questionable interactions there as far as some of them knowing about some of these deaths or murders, or that people are doing very bad acts and not saying much of anything until it's a bit too late. Do you think we're going to see any sort of charges against any others in this circle of friends, or the fact that they are testifying against Lori and likely Chad? Is there some sort of deal that's been cut maybe that says, you guys do your part, share what you knew, and we won't go after you for being aware?
I don't think there's a deal that's been cut. Those are very hard cases to make in terms of a conspiracy. First of all, there were no real agreements. It was knowledge. And then the second component is an overt act, and we don't see that either. So I think, while I agree with you, they were certainly walking the tightrope, specifically from a moral standpoint. As far as a criminal standpoint, I don't think any charges will be pursued against any of them.
All right. Let's talk about the upcoming case against Lori for Charles Vallow, facing a count of the conspiracy to commit murder. Is this something, obviously there's not even a date or anything like that. They're talking about extraditing her back. With her likely going to be getting, life in prison, of course, there's a chance of appeals and such. Are we going to see another trial here for the Charles Vallow case? Or at some point, do the systems just say, look, we already got her in for life. Why are we going to expel resources on this? Of course, other than for justice for the families and such.
I think we're going to see a trial. I say that because she wanted a trial in this case. I don't see any reason that she'll change her mind. You would hope she would, that she would just enter a plea, but I don't think that is the type of person we're talking about here. So I expect a trial, and I expect her to be pursued for just the two reasons you named.
Yeah. Justice
for these families, and what if an appeal went through and, anything were left in limbo there, then there'd be another trial, in Idaho. So therefore, I think Arizona will go through with their charges.
How does that work at something like this, where you have charges in one state and another state? Murder, you found guilty in both states at some point. Who decides where this person's going and where they're going to stay? How does one outweigh the other?
Typically, it's the initial charges that they have to serve that sentence first. This is one of these cases when she's sentenced, it's not going to be concurrent. They're going to be consecutive, meaning they're not going to be served at the same time.
Sure.
Oftentimes you'll see these concurrent sentences. This isn't what this is going to be. So she's going to get sentenced and then resentenced if she's found guilty for the Arizona charges. So, life. What was that number?
Yeah.
She's eligible in 99.
Yeah, exactly.
Some crazy number, 9999 or something. I read
666.
Well, that might have been more apropos, but in any event, that's how it works. It'll be consecutive.
That makes sense.
Although it won't matter, right? It won't matter.
At some point it won't matter. What I'm wondering about, too, is with all of the history that this woman has, and we only really know a lot of the last 10, 15 years or so. We never really heard from anybody that was a real lifelong friend of Lori. I mean, other than her son that testified. There's all those years of seemingly not contact with many human beings. Obviously, she'd been married several times, but no friends, no circle to come and back her up. It makes me wonder what other trails of destruction she had been on in years prior, especially when we look back all the way to her sister's death in the late 90s.
Tony, one thing that I've noticed nobody has really keyed upon.
Mhm.
This is a serial murderer.
Yeah.
She's a serial murderer. Classic. We have 3 deaths we know of.
That we know of. Yeah.
That she's been convicted of, I should say.
Mhm.
We have 2, an attempted. We have another one we know about. So we're talking 5. I know he didn't die, but still, it would be in that realm of a serial killer. Certainly, it's only 3 by FBI definition. She's a serial killer, and I think it's interesting that everybody wants to dub her the doomsday mom and all these things, that it had something to do with religion. I've just never really bought into that. I think religion was used as an excuse to get what she wanted, which was really money and freedom.
Sure. And it'll be interesting to see just what else will be unearthed on this woman. I think we are far from over hearing the story of Lori Vallow Daybell.
Agreed.
This is an examination of the hidden human condition
This is the Hidden Killers Podcast.
with Tony Bruschi.
Jennifer Coffindaffer, thank you so much for your insight. Always appreciated here on the program. If you would like an ad-free experience of the show and get access to all of our true crime podcasts in the True Crime Today network, all you got to do is check us out on Apple Podcasts. There are tons of them for you to binge away on right now. Just go sign up for our premium membership, get access to all the shows, all the cases we're following, all ad-free. We do greatly appreciate your support. My name's Tony Bruschi. Stay with us.